Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
But tell me, Eddie, is that a rabbit in your pocket or you're just happy to see me?
So, hello everybody. I'm going to be off camera tonight because I did not have time to put makeup on at all. I'm tired from the renovations and all the stuff that's going down. So I'm just going to use my avatar. But avatar is my face, pretty much. So technically, you'll see what I look like. Just, this is the avatar you use for D&D now. So we are back, counting down our favorite actors. Now, I really shouldn't have to say this, but actor is, we are essentially a gendered language. Not like, you know, as much as like other languages are, like, you know, Spanish, things like that. But for the most part, we are a gendered language. An actor is a male term, right? So male actors. I should not have to say this. Because I hate the fact that actor has become a catch-all for both male and female. Like actor and actress, it's fine. Been working like that for decades. It'll work like that, like, you know, well past the era of the SJWs, pretty much. So these are males, right? So like next time when we do, I figure we'll do the actresses, pretty much. But these are top 10 favorite male actors. So before I say hello to the chat and before we get into our list, now again, this is subjective. The actors on our list are not necessarily the best, just our own personal favorites. And they could be like, just like, you know, they could just had maybe one or two outstanding performances that elevated them on like to the list, pretty much. Like I said, like this doesn't mean they were Oscar winners or anything like that. So, Stieg, let everybody know where they can find you and all that fun stuff before I say hello to the chat.
Well, on this channel twice a month, and on Teresa's channel tomorrow with you.
Oh yeah, we are doing a D&D discussion about 1:30 p.m. Eastern. So hopefully I can be there.
It won't work without you.
What?
Won't work without you.
It's like, you know, like
all
I said,
the pressure is on you now.
Well, it's been crazy here. It has been crazy here. The countertops are going in tomorrow, and like stuff needs to be put back in their original positions. So we'll see. But anyway, so I see from the top, Dinner Bells, hello. Glad to see Broadtack made the list. Well, we'll see. So Gravy D is, hey, lovely Mara and Stieg and Chad. Feeling under the weather tonight, so I'll just be listening. However, my number one is Calculon. So no worries, Gravy. Hope you feel better. Trey says he's ready for this lit discussion. Ed Norton made my number one for having my favorite performance in a film. Yeah, like I said, it could be like one outstanding performance that an actor gives that puts him on the list.
Oh yeah.
Want to have reviews?
I did not go for that one. I just went for who has entertained me the most. So I actually disqualified people who only had like one performance. So I went the opposite route.
So I kind of went like the same with Trey. It's like what I did was I basically did a like 5 and 5 sort of situation, like 5 classic actors and like 5 more contemporary actors. So, but good evening, Orange Hat. Good to see you. So, hello, Johnny Worry Sex. Good to see you. Like a Juice Cannon. Mr. Bentham, Jimmy Stewart is definitely on my list, top 3 for me. He would have made the list if it had been like bigger than top 10. So he would have made the list. I do like Jimmy Stewart. So no, Elliot Page does not count. Jim Carrey is also on my list. Like when he does serious roles like Eternal Sunshine, he's amazing. Agreed. Let's see. Listing actors. Let's see. Ms. Martin Muses, hello, good to see you. This is my Kick. At some point, I'll be back to streaming, both on Kick and Twitch. This week has been this week. When I say this week has been crazy, that's a masterpiece of understatements. Hello, Citizen Ronan, good to see you. Tris, what's up? Good to see you. Making sure I don't miss anyone. I think
Kick is way better than Twitch.
Look. You know what? I could easily relieve you of that headache of clicking pop-ups because you can't seem to figure it out and remove the sword.
No.
Then do what I say. Don't click anything.
I want the sword.
Then don't click anything. Otherwise, I will remove it. So, couldn't find one with one.
You can't take back a gift.
A gift that was under threat, essentially.
Oh yeah, I blackmailed, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. Hello, Jaluk. Good to see you. Yes, exactly. I still use actors as well, pretty much. So when I say actor, it's male. I just hate that it's become catch-all for both male and female now. I would do this just to make, if you could see me pointing, but I'm pointing to my co-host just to make him embarrassed.
What?
This.
This what? Penis power?
Yes.
What's wrong about that?
You'd have to rate other men's dicks.
Oh, yeah, no, I haven't seen them.
Yeah, so hello, Riker. So Steph and I will be talking Barbie tomorrow. I think of the three, I'm the one that did not like it. So
They liked it?
Wicked thought it was pretty good from what I could tell. Steph didn't think it was bad as we originally thought, but it's not good, according to her. And I just flat out don't like it. So I'm the one basically on the firm side of it's pretty much shit.
It's a Barbie movie.
Well, I'll get into it a little bit later. There was a way, and I think I tell better stories in Hollywood most times, that they could have used Barbie, and it would have made sense, but they screwed the fucking pooch. Yes, this is my Twitch. Thank you so much, and my Throne, which is like Amazon wish list. So I do have cosplays over there, so go check that out. Basically, if you so choose to gift me anything, is essentially what it is, pretty much. So it's a way to keep my information private and the sender's information private. And my Rumble, this will be mirrored over there. So, if anything happens to this stream, which I kind of doubt, I always mirror the stuff over there because the YouTube is pretty much shit now. This is like mom talking. Exactly. Fucking hell. Do as I say. Yeah, but it's satire. So I did not pay to see it, at least. I did not pay to see it. So, all right. So now, top 10. Top 10 list, pretty much.
Oh,
All
I
right.
have to roll a die.
Yeah. Yes. So basically, for those who are new, what the DM does, well, Sig is the DM pretty much for our D&D group. But what he does is he takes a D20 dice and rolls, and to see who goes first.
Okay. Do you want 1 to 10 or 11 to 20?
I'll do 1 to 10 this time.
3.
It doesn't. The dice likes me in here, but not during the game.
Well, it's fine during the game as long as you don't get attacked by creatures.
Well, what exactly happened last week time?
Well, that was Teresa. She shot you.
Well, yeah, because we were getting attacked by a creature.
Yeah.
Yes.
But,
so the dice does not like me when it's a creature is involved.
The undead raccoon did not have a Magnum 44. Teresa did.
No. Yeah, I'm saying the dice. I know Teresa rolled, but I'm saying the dice does not like me when there's an animal involved. So the animal attacked Teresa, but she rolled a 1, so her character shot mine.
Do you want to know what's fun? We played D&D, Conan, and now Call of Cthulhu.
Mm-hmm.
And in all 3, Teresa has shot another player.
And she somehow shot me. Was it the Conan one? Like
Mhm.
my character was standing to her side, and she still somehow shot me.
Yeah, through the arm.
Yes.
You were protesting.
Well, I was shot.
Yeah, and then she shot Nina in the stomach.
Yes.
She was like 1 point away from dying too,
Yeah, pretty much.
and then she shot herself. That's happened. She shot
Yep.
herself with a bow and arrow.
But anyway, okay, so I start, like I said, this is our subjective lists. Again, the actors necessarily are not Oscar winners, or maybe not the greatest necessarily in terms in terms of anyone else's opinion. But my number 10 is you. There's no way anybody else could play this character other than this actor, and that's Bruce Campbell, pretty much. Because the Evil Dead franchise is one of my favorite franchises, and Bruce Campbell is Ash Williams, right? And even older, when he's Ash versus Evil Dead, it's like riding a bike for him, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like he just becomes Ash Williams. I've seen him in other movies, like smaller parts. Like he was basically cameo roles in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, because Bruce Campbell and Sam Raimi pretty much were childhood friends. So it's natural pretty much for Sam Raimi to find a way to include his friend in the movies. And even in the small parts, Bruce Campbell stood out in whatever scene he was in, pretty much. I would say, arguably, that he kind of stole the scene from Tobey Maguire in those parts.
Yes, he definitely has presence.
Yes.
A crazy amount of presence. And,
Mhm.
The guy can act.
Yeah.
Seriously. I mean, watch Bubba Hotep. Silly movie. But holy damn, he pulls it out of the park.
Mm-hmm. I'm laughing at Trista's comments, pretty much. Yeah, even in Bubba Hotep, pretty much, he does have to reflect this rather serious side, but at the same time, he's able to bring levity to the character because he's playing Elvis Presley in a retirement home, and his supporting actor is Ozzie Davis, who's a black actor and believes he's JFK.
Yep,
So the movie itself is what?
And they kill a mummy.
Yes, and the movie itself is silly, but there are points where Bruce Campbell does demonstrate that he is a decent, serious actor. He does have the chops.
Trey Courtney brings up that Bruce was great on the X-Files. He was a 10 out of 10 in that episode he was in.
Yeah, look on Moon. Pretty much, yeah. So I included him because the Evil Dead, I don't think he gets basically enough credit, so to speak. It's kind of for me, it's kind of what's that actor's name? Now I'm gonna have to look it up because I'm blanking on it. He was in he played the pastor in Silver Bullets. He's in Heartbreak Ridge. He played in Dune. So I'm gonna have to look it up, but that actor also is very underrated. If this were a top 20, I would have included him as well. No, Dan, not Bob Chapek.
It's a bit like Christopher Lee, right? He's not the best actor that ever was, but he has an insane presence.
Yes.
I mean, in The Lord of the Rings, when he's acting opposite Ian McKellen, Christopher Lee steals the scene.
Everett McGill, thank you so much, Orange Hat. Thank you. Yeah.
Oh, he's this is why you need to watch Twin Peaks, Maura. He's in it.
So I do like him as an actor.
He's one of the lead.
He's very good, very underrated.
Yeah.
But didn't quite make the top 10. So I gave the 10 spot to Bruce Campbell. So. Okay. Your turn.
Well, mine is
text keeps going off. Group chat.
Okay. My number 10 is Harrison Ford. Mostly out of childhood memories, right? Because back then you only had a limited amount of movies, especially in Norway. We only had one channel for a while, So you relied on the VHS movies you had or your friends had,
Hmm.
right? And Indiana Jones and Star Wars, you know, 6 movies at the time, and Blade Runner, so 7, and I kept rewatching those over and over again. So yeah, Harrison Ford was a huge part of my childhood, and he was perfect in all those roles, wasn't he?
Hmm.
And
I have a
he was,
preference for Indiana Jones over Han Solo, but that's just
yeah,
me.
me too. Um, Definitely, I think he does too.
Hmm.
But yeah, heck, I even made my own web and was trying to swing from trees and stuff.
Hmm.
Yeah, homemade's not as good. I'll tell you that much.
No, no,
But yeah, Harrison Ford could
awesome.
not. I just couldn't leave him out.
I actually did, but like I said, if it were like if we're a top 20, then I would feel like some of the actors that are like that you list that are listed in the chat would have easily made that list. But when you narrow it down to 10, especially when I like for me, I was trying to do both both classic and contemporary,
Yeah,
does
yeah.
eliminate some pretty much.
I I simply had to go with the ones I've watched the most
Hmm.
because it's odd, isn't it? How the movies you watch when you're a kid and a teenager,
Hmm.
how it actually impacts you
Yeah,
th- through life, and it's just I always get flashbacks, thinking about, oh yeah, shit, that time when me and 2 friends were watching that movie, right? It still sticks in my head.
hmm, yep.
So yeah,
So yeah, like some of the definitely most of the actors on my list because I grew up watching movies pretty much from every decade. And I'd say it started with actually like the golden age of Hollywood movies for the most parts from because of my parents. So a lot of like even the classic films molded my childhood, molded my perception of like actors and actresses, like talent.
yeah. It
So
it it, it definitely burns into your maybe even your personality because, well, Fright Night is one of your big movies, right?
mhm,
From when you were a kid.
yeah,
Imagine if you never watched it as a kid and you watched it for the first time now, you probably wouldn't be as into it as you were back then, right?
probably not. I feel like I would still enjoy it,
Yeah,
but
but
it very much shaped like my love of horror movies, particularly vampire movies, at least initially.
yeah,
So, so I would actually watch that over like Anne Rice's Interview with the Vampire. I prefer Fright Night. I prefer the classic Hammer horror films over the more romanticized version of vampires.
I,
So,
I I even have a soft spot for Jaws 4, believe it or not, because like I said, limited amount of movies you had access to, and a friend of mine had it. He just kept watching it, just to watch a movie, right?
mm-hmm. All
So
right.
it's
So, yeah,
it's
but
odd.
those, yeah, but those are our number 10s, and you start number 9. Now, not how
No,
I did my list was like contemporary, classic, contemporary, classic. So,
well, I have. Well, he's kind of a classic.
mhm.
One of probably my favorite comedic actor, and he was probably a genius. Peter Sellers.
Oh yeah, I really didn't think about him, but like I said, it was narrowing it down to 10.
Oh,
I was just
he
watching Return of the Pink Panther.
yeah, he got added late because he's an easy one to forget.
Hmm.
But yeah, Pink Panther movies, and I don't know if you've seen The Party.
I
Or
think I have bits. I know I definitely love Peter Sellers and Doctor Strangelove.
yeah, in The Party, he plays a guy from India who
Like
accidentally
yeah,
gets
I've seen scenes from that, so I know which one you're talking about.
it, almost all of it is improvised by him and the guy who plays the waiter.
Hmm.
It's nuts. But yeah, the Pink Panther movies. Holy crap! Did I watch those?
Yeah,
Not the first two, because I don't think the first two are that good. You know,
You're
because
talking about the original with David Niven.
Yeah, because he's a side character in the David
Yeah, he's
Niven
a
one.
side character in a Pink Panther movie.
Yeah, because the Pink Panther is the diamond.
Yeah, the Pink Panther's a diamond, but like Clouseau should be not. He shouldn't be a side character.
Yeah, and the second one, I didn't think that was that funny, but 3, 4, and 5.
Which was the second one?
Was it Murder? Something.
Okay, I don't think I've seen the second one, but like I said, I was just watching Return of the Pink Panther.
Oh, that one's fantastic.
Yeah, I pretty much still die laughing the first time Kato attacks him in his apartment.
Yeah, it's holy damn though. Those
Okay,
Kato
so
scenes.
Shot in the Dark, I think, yes. So.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
I don't think it's bad, but I don't think it's the best.
No, it's. I didn't think they had nailed it in that one. You know, but in 3, 4, and 5, that's
Mhm.
where it's, close to being a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
But Peter Sellers, probably a genius, like I said. And if you watched his biopic with Jeffrey Rush playing him,
Mhm.
Sellers wasn't necessarily a good person.
No, this is what they never meet your heroes, pretty much.
Yeah.
So he was also really good in Lolita, the original with or one of the originals with James Mason. Like he does a really good job playing a rather sleazy character.
Oh,
I don't know if you've seen it or not, but like Lolita with James Mason.
you know
He's very good in that.
You know the Spider-Man movie when Bruce Campbell plays the French guy?
Mm-hmm.
He based his performance on Peter Sellers.
I believe it.
Yeah, it
Oh,
was.
I can just he puts the glass up to his eyes, like when he's looking at the diamond ring, like, oh, I can just see it.
Yeah, and I fully believe Bruce Campbell could have played Clouseau,
Yeah.
but now they want Liam Neeson to play him, I think, and I'm like, no.
No, Liam Neeson doesn't work. Like Minky, what you said, Minky? That is correct.
Yep.
Chimpanzee Minky.
Does your dog bite?
Oh my god. I'm waiting for Teresa's comment because she's like Clark Gable. Yeah, it was Spider-Man 3 because Peter Parker was going to propose to MJ in that one.
You know, Bruce Campbell in the first Spider-Man, he names Spider-Man.
Yeah.
In the second one, he refuses Spider-Man entry to the theater or something.
So
he actually defeats Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third one, he joins him.
Mm-hmm. I think Steve Martin could have been a good Clouseau, but he went too far into the just so dumb but succeeds out of sheer luck sort of situation.
Kevin Kline would have been better.
Yeah, Kevin Kline would have been better, but they had Kevin Kline as Dreyfus, or Dreyfus, I should say. That's how it's pronounced, Inspector Dreyfus.
Yeah.
But yeah, he would have been better. He would have been better. It was like a little too over the top, whereas like Peter Sellers has just enough, where it's like you still shake your head at him, but at the same time, it's like it's not overwhelming.
There's a balance with movies like that because it's silly and it's slapstick, but if you take it too far, it's just dumb.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. But he would have been a better Mysterio than Jake Gyllenhaal.
Fans were shouting about Bruce Campbell and how he should play Mysterio.
I think if Spider-Man 3 hadn't bombed, essentially, they could have gone on to Spider-Man 4, and he was supposed to be Mysterio. Because, like I said, it's he and Sam Raimi knew each other pretty much since childhood. So But anyway, so
Yeah.
if you know anything more, I'll go into my number 9.
Yep.
So my number 9 is started out in silent films, and then progressed into talkies, but still had success. He was still incredibly funny, and for me, that's Buster Keaton. And one of my favorites, Buster Keaton films is I think it's called Little General, I want to say, but it's set during the Civil War. And Buster Keaton is like he is a railroad. He's basically a not conductor, pretty much, on the railways, and he lives in the South, and he initially tries to join the Confederate Army, but because he has a rather important job in basically running trains and so forth, they won't let him join. And so he essentially sneaks into like the battlefield and stuff to save face, because he's in love with this woman, or this young woman whose father and brothers are pretty much judging him because they think he didn't want to join because out of cowardice, and so they didn't believe him when he's like they wouldn't take him. Pretty much, he pretty much goes the roundabout way to fight in the Civil War. And there's a scene where it's like, so hold on, I gotta check my text. Okay, I'm gonna have to take a little bit of a break. You can entertain the chat, but but real fast, there's a scene where he's basically all right, leaning against the front of the train, like he's on the train's moving, and he's taking these boards and knocking boards off the train track as the train is moving, and he's like doing this all in one shot. Also look up Sherlock Jr. Like it's a silent film, pretty much like that. The one two I mentioned are silent films, but he was also very good in talkies, and he was one that was able to blend both verbal comedy and basically physical comedy. And he's like one of the best.
The closest thing we have to Buster Keaton and Charlie Chaplin in these days is probably Jackie Chan.
Yeah, like basically, like think how Jackie Chan blends both verbal and physical comedy.
Yeah,
that is Buster Keaton. That's what Buster Keaton does. The General, Sherlock Jr. Just look him up. But I will be right back because I'm actually doing wham stuff. I'm handling laundry, so.
Well,
yes.
Can't fault her for that.
Nope.
So she's making a clean exit. Well, I'll take questions and stuff from the chat while Maura is away doing laundry. And let's just go with that. Have a little interlude. Shit, I was going to eat too while she was yapping. Citizen Ronan says Steve likes Jaws 4 because of Mario Van Peebles' Jamaican accent. You know, I wouldn't know if he's doing a poor accent or not, because I've never met anyone from Jamaica. So, but to be honest, I think Mario Van Peebles was good in that movie, but I don't think he's good in much else. If I had to make like a worst actor list, he might be on it. Trey Courtney says Jaws 4 has a decent opening. Yes. One big mistake there, though, because the opening starts at Amity. They should have had Hendrix be the chief of police at the opening of Jaws 4. You know, that would have been a good throwback, wouldn't it? And I also thought the chase scene through the wreck in Jaws 4, that's not bad. That's pretty cool. But yeah, not a good movie. Let's see. Mario Van Peebles was decent in New Jack City. I've never seen that. I watched Posse a few weeks ago. I think he he directed it and played the leading role. I wanted to like that movie, but it was just over directed. Is that a thing? Trish says Jaws 4 wasn't good. No, it wasn't. Uh, it's a shit movie, but I still have a soft spot for it, probably because I watched it a lot when I was a kid. Orange Sunset, Mario Van Peebles Shrine in Highlander 3. Oh, that's a movie I need to rewatch. Actually, I should rewatch Highlander 1, 2, 3, and 4. 5 and 6 are really bad. I'm not going to watch those ever again. The second one was just, what the heck's going on? It had some cool scenes though, but yeah. But Highlander 3 wasn't that bad, I thought. That's maybe what should have been Highlander 2, right? Yeah, Trey Courtney mentioning the roaring shark. Yep. If you haven't watched Highlander 2, Trey, it's like you can watch it for the train wreck, or you also risk damaging the first one, I think. Hi, Maura.
Hello. Just catching up on the chat.
Yeah, I've been a professional co-host. I feel I did a 6 out of 10 job.
All right.
Totally derailed it with Jaws 4.
Yeah, pretty much. That's why I'm gathering. But yeah, like I said, my number 9 was Buster Keaton. So again, if you have a chance to check out his filmography, so I highly recommend it. He's one of the few, well, not few, but
Citizen Ronan is being honest. He's giving me a 4 out of 10. You know what? I'll take it. I'm happy with a 4 out of 10.
Yeah.
I've never hosted a stream before.
So I wouldn't say I'm going to walk back to one of a few, because there were a number of actors that successfully moved from the silent films to the talking pictures, but a good number of them were unable to do so, either because when you heard their real voices, there's no way you'd want to listen to them, pretty much. And two, some of the silent actors were actually deaf. Yeah, you couldn't tell because obviously there's no sound. But when talking pictures happened, a lot of them were put out of work because they couldn't go from the silent films to the talkies.
Maybe they were method actors. They just made everything silent fully.
No, one of them was in a one of Charlie Chaplin's movies.
Oh,
and he's he's an actor that Charlie Chaplin liked. But
I've gotten 2 4s and 2 5s.
Yes.
So 4.5 then. I'll take it gladly.
Yeah, that's what Singing in the Rain is about, pretty much, like moving from the silence to the sound. But like I said, there were a number of actors that were unable to make that transition because of certain either physical disabilities or if you actually heard them act, you'd say stick to silent films because no one wants to listen to you. But anyway, so yeah, but Buster Keaton was one of the ones that was able to do both. He had the facial expressions, that you could understand even without sound what he was feeling. And when he moved on to sounds, well, he's able to bring his physical comedy there as well. So, but yeah, so that's my number 9.
Well, then you do number 8 first.
All right, so my number 8 is an actor. He's the only actor on here that I pretty much chose because of primarily one of his television roles that I'm actually currently in the process of rewatching. I'm rewatching Law and Order: Criminal Intent, so I included Vincent D'Onofrio on this list because he's Law and Order: Criminal Intent is my favorite of the Law and Orders, and I absolutely love his performance as Bobby Gorin, Detective Bobby Gorin, in the program, where he brings a believability to his character, where it's initially he comes off as an extremely odd duck. He's intelligent, but at the same time odd. But as the plot of the show progresses, you find out more and more what exactly makes him tick and why he is the way he is. Like one of the going back to these old shows where they actually had storytelling and character development, actual character development in a show. And I will say this, he's one of the best versions of Thor we've gotten on screen. And if anyone in the chat knows what I'm talking about, then you're okay in my book. He's one of the best Thors on screen. But I primarily chose him for his role in Criminal Intent. I think he's underrated as an actor, and he's he brings the character is just so well rounded, where you can actually feel for his character. You can actually feel for his character, and when you find out his upbringing and things like that. So.
Holy shit! You should watch him when he played Robert E. Howard in the Robert E. Howard biopic.
Mm-hmm.
He knocked it out of the ballpark. It's him and Renee Zellweger. It's a very obscure movie, but yeah, he played the guy who wrote Conan, and then killed himself. That's pretty much what Robert E. Howard did.
Yeah,
insane output for a few years, and then killed himself at 30.
Vincent D'Onofrio also played. He was in the movie Ed Wood. And what role did he play? Shoot, I gotta look it up. Real fast. It was a really small part. Orson Welles. Why did I fucking forget that name? Orson Welles. It wasn't his voice necessarily that you heard, but he had the mannerisms of Orson Welles down pat in that role. Like I said, really small parts in Ed Wood. Pretty much like just one scene between Ed Wood and Orson Welles. But Vincent D'Onofrio is such a believable Orson Welles. So he's like one of my favorite actors.
The Whole Wide World is the name of the Robert E. Howard movie. If anyone wants to look it up.
Mm-hmm.
Teresa did. She loved it.
So, yeah. So like Vincent D'Onofrio made my number 8 spot on my list.
Excellent choice, though.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Like you said, he's underrated as hell.
Yeah.
He should have been as big a name as, De Niro and stuff like that, really, because he has the skills.
Yeah, he does. Like he is repeatedly shown. He's like that. Like he's able to do it. It's just he's somehow never made it to like quote unquote A-list status or anything like that. Even though he's a lot better than most A-listers working today. So,
well, my number 8 though is an actor that never makes any lists. I've noticed. 80s action actor.
Mm-hmm.
Grossly underrated. Michael Biehn.
Yeah, I'll give him that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, part of my childhood: Aliens, Terminator, The Abyss, Tombstone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially with Tombstone, his portrayal as Johnny Ringo is a 10 out of 10. But the Kurt Russell and Val Kilmer gets all the praise. But everyone in that damn movie is superb.
Oh yeah, that's like I've never really been necessarily into Western films, but that's one of my favorites. That movie is one of my favorites.
Even when they were casting, the Expendable sequels and people were suggesting this and that actor, nobody suggested him. He's like so overlooked, it's crazy. But
I actually, I mean, I loved Jean-Claude Van Damme as the villain in the second one for the overall. I actually would have replaced him with Michael Biehn. I think Michael Biehn would have worked better.
Oh, Michael Biehn is excellent at playing a psycho too.
Yeah, like he would have worked better than Jean-Claude
Yeah.
Van Damme in that role.
Yeah, something about his eyes when he goes psycho.
Mhm.
It just, yeah, he probably is psycho. Who knows?
I
But
mean, yeah, I think you kind of have to be for the most part to work in Hollywood.
yeah, but yeah, you know, Kyle Reese, you know,
Mhm.
Hicks, all that stuff. It's childhood heroes, right? And
Yeah.
I think he messed up for himself a bit in the 90s because alcoholism.
Yeah.
So, but if you think about the movies he was in the span of 10 years or so, I mean he was in The Rock as well, you know.
Hmm. Yeah, he had a drinking problem. He's kind of like um not exactly like the actor Jackie Earl Haley, but both have demonstrated that like once they get themselves clean of like whatever problem they had, Michael Biehn had a drinking problem. Jackie Earl Haley, when he was younger, got heavily into drugs because he used to be a child actor.
Robert
Yeah.
Patrick as well.
Yeah, that when they basically clean up their acts, no pun intended, they are very good actors.
Yeah.
So,
Well, yeah, I'm giving spot 8 to Michael Biehn. I kept watching movies with him in it over and over again, so he'll have to be one of my favorites, right?
yeah, yeah. Edward Furlong, he got drinking and drugs pretty much, and yeah, let him pretty much went to hell. His body just went to hell.
Yeah.
So, but he showed promise in Terminator 2 and in American History X, but just yeah, he was like I said, he was a child actor. He started out as a child actor, but at some point when he was in his late teens or something like that, he got heavy into drug use, and because of that, his acting career basically just went literally downhill until he got himself clean, and he's like Rorschach from Watchmen. I cannot picture anyone else playing Rorschach now.
No, he was amazing in that.
Yeah,
Not as good as in Freddy, Nightmare on Elm Street remake though.
Well, he demonstrated he could have been a really good Freddy. Because he was like the best part of that movie. Granted, the movie was shit, pretty much. But Jackie Earle Haley demonstrated that he could have been a good Freddy if they had given him actual stuff to work with.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the best part of that movie. I like the scenes where he was in. I was like, I see potential here, but the movie was crap.
I saw some people suggest him as a Wolverine for a while too.
Mm-hmm.
Because
probably not Wolverine, but yeah.
Because he's supposed to be like short and stocky, right?
Yeah.
He would have had to put on some muscle though.
When was Lincoln? Because didn't Lincoln come out after the Nightmare on Elm Street movie?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it didn't exactly hurt him because he was in the Lincoln movie. So I think people were able to separate him from the Nightmare on Elm Street film because, like I said, he was the best part in that. So I don't think it hurt him necessarily. Yeah, I think he's gotten to a point where he basically picks and is discerning with his the roles he takes. So yeah, so I don't think his career hurt. I think he's just more discerning right now. But yeah, so nice. So those are our number 8s. So we're now on number 7, and you start this one.
Well, this is where I cheated.
Mm-hmm.
I admit it. I cheated. And I think you'll forgive me for it. Mel Gibson and Danny Glover for the Lethal Weapon stuff.
Well, Mel Gibson is also on my list, but I didn't pit.
Yeah, it's basically. I watched Lethal Weapon 1, 2, 3, probably 100 times, and they don't work without each other. That there's a double act,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you replace Mel Gibson with anyone else and put him with Danny Glover,
Mm-hmm.
In Lethal Weapon, it won't work. And the same if you replace Danny Glover with someone else. It
No,
needs
yeah.
to be those two.
Mm-hmm.
So I cheated. Probably the best on-screen chemistry in movie history.
I'd say one of the best. One
Yeah,
of the best.
it's and as a side note, you have Danny Glover for for Predator 2,
Mm-hmm.
which is a damn good sequel, in my opinion, and Mel Gibson for Mad Max as well. So they were all over the place when I grew up. Heck, Danny Glover was in Silverado as well, which is one of my favorite westerns. I don't know if anyone in the chat haven't seen Silverado, watch it. It's like an '80s action movie, but it's set in the West with Scott Glenn, Kevin Kline, Danny Glover, and Kevin Costner. You have John Cleese in it playing a sheriff. Brian Dennehy plays the villain. You know, Jeff Goldblum is in it playing a gambler.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, fantastic movie. But yeah, so I cheated. Glover and Gibson.
All right. Well, Mel Gibson is a bit further down on my list, but I'll talk about him a little bit whenever I get to that point. But my number 7, and like I said, I was going basically contemporary classic, and I landed on Cary Grant. Again, I grew up watching a lot of classic Hollywood films, and a lot of like what I initially watched when I was growing up were Cary Grant films. Like Bringing Up Baby, Gunga Din. He was even in a Hitchcock, at least a couple Hitchcock films. So he showed that he had range, and I have to look it up because he actually, like, if you listen to him in in his movies, you would not know that he actually had a very thick accent from where he was from. He actually worked on his speech prior to when he basically came to Hollywood. And I think it was a Cockney accent because he's from Horfield, Bristol, England. That's where he's from. And I want to say he had it was either so can't remember, but he had a if you he's like one of those accents where he's speaking English, but he could not understand a word he was saying. And but if you watch him in the films, that you would not know that. You would not know that. And I was going to say I included him because of North by Northwest, primarily. Right. Because that is that's the I think is it the third Hitchcock film he was in? Because he was in a couple before that. Before North by Northwest. But North by Northwest was my favorite of his, the work he did with Hitchcock. It's one of those mistaken identity films, but Cary Grant, he's able to bring both the seriousness and levity in certain situations, because sometimes he would break the serious scene with something basically saying something humorous or pointing out something in a humorous way to ease the tension in the audience. In that crop duster scene, yeah, one of the most iconic scenes in film history. He was in Bringing Up Baby, which is very, very much a comedic role that he did with Katharine Hepburn. The movie itself, I think, bombed at the box office when it was initially released, but I would give it, for those in the chat, I would give it a chance, because the baby part in the movie is actually a leopard. So it's not a human baby, it's a leopard, pretty much a tame leopard that Cary Grant gets roped into transporting from one city to another with Katharine Hepburn's character. And when all he wants to do is get a donation for the museum he works at. So basically it's basically a screwball type of comedy where it's no matter whatever could go wrong goes wrong essentially in the movie. All right, but that's yeah. So Baby is a tame leopard. But yeah, so I enjoyed watching that when I was growing up, and Cary Grant has shown one of the few actors like that has shown range where he's believable in a serious role, he's believable in a comedic role, and so forth. And I'd say aged pretty damn well. So yeah, Cary Grant made my number 7.
I've not watched many Cary Grant movies. Maybe not even any.
I
know.
think you would remember if you had.
Probably.
Yeah.
But I enjoy watching older movies like like the Cagney movie you had me watch the other day.
Mm-hmm. White Heat. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was really good.
There's an actor on my list who's in a movie that I think you should watch, but I'll get to that when I talk about him. Just for his performance alone in the movie. Now, the movie itself isn't really good, but just for his performance, I think you should watch it. But anyway, Cary Grant is my number 7. Now we're number 6.
Yeah, your turn.
Yeah. So this one, he is one of my favorite actors, but I primarily included him. Like, he's a very good actor. I'm not saying he's only been in one movie that I've enjoyed, but it was his performance in a particular movie that made me add him to the list, and that is Denzel Washington. And the role that made me go, holy shit, was Training Day.
I had to leave Denzel out, and it stung because the man can do no wrong. I've never seen him do a bad performance ever.
No. Even if the movies themselves aren't that good,
yeah,
he always brings like 100% to the role he's in.
Did you watch him in Much Ado About Nothing?
Years ago.
He can do Shakespeare too.
Yeah, like he is an incredible actor. But like, the reason why I selected Training Day because it was such a different role for him at the time. It was like so out of left field from the roles he had been playing initially up to that point. It's like he was a very good actor, but then Training Day happened, and that's what, like I said, like made me step back and go, "Holy shit!" It's like it was like he like made that film. Like, if he had turned in basically a poor performance, or if they had hired someone else, that movie I think would not have done as well. Without Denzel Washington, basically playing the bad guy. Yeah, because he was always a good guy. Like, he was never the bad guy, and this is like just basically demonstrated he could be a really good bad guy.
Yeah.
So that's why I included him, because again, I'm like certain, like I take certain performances and like basically like how well I like the actors, and if there's a performance that just stands out, like amongst like the performances I've seen the actor in that I like, pretty much was kind of one of the driving factors in picking certain actors for this list for me, and I had to include him because of that, because of that out of left field performance that we got from him. So yeah, Denzel Washington. Loved Training Day when it came out.
Actually, very good in the Magnificent Seven remake as well.
I have not watched that. I didn't.
I didn't think I'd like it, but I kind of did.
I'll give it a chance. I'm not like, when I say I didn't watch it, I wasn't like protesting it as a remake or anything like that, because I've seen enough of Hollywood films to know that Hollywood has been remaking their shit since pretty much the dawn of cinema.
Yeah.
They've been doing that for decades. Like this whole remaking movies is nothing new. It's just like, I don't know. For me, it was like, I didn't think there was really any like way it could come close to the Seven Samurai or even the original Magnificent Seven.
Oh, the remake doesn't come close to the original Magnificent Seven, but it's still. I don't think they tried to top it or anything. I think they went more for, let's just make an entertaining remake. And if that was their goal, that they succeeded.
I might watch it at least if anything, to compare it to the original Magnificent Seven. But like I grew up watching that plus the Seven Samurai because Toshiro Mifune is one of my favorite actors of all time. Did not make the list. Did not make the list because I was like basically just picking English speaking actors that I know most people would have seen. But his performance in Seven Samurai and in like subsequent films, he's one of the best. So probably would not be able to find the movies he's in easily nowadays, but without these resorting to purchasing Criterion collections.
In my opinion, though, Denzel Washington is just as good an actor as Morgan Freeman.
Oh yeah, I love Morgan Freeman, but I kind of put Denzel Washington above Morgan Freeman.
Maybe Freeman has more versatility.
Mm-hmm.
No, sorry, Denzel has more versatility.
Yeah.
Maybe. Or maybe it's simply because Freeman just gets cast in certain roles.
It might be a combination of both. Like, I love Morgan Freeman, but there are some times where it's like... It's a little bit of Morgan Freeman playing Morgan Freeman. I'm not trying to disparage him necessarily, because I do love him as an actor. But Denzel Washington has demonstrated a bit more range.
Freeman tends to always play, the smart guy. The wise, smart guy.
Yeah. But Denzel Washington has shown that he can play, like, various characters.
It was actually very refreshing to watch Morgan Freeman in Hard Rain with Christian Slater, where he basically, Freeman played a crook.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, so your number 6 is?
My number 6 is Eddie Murphy.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, like I said, back in the days when you had VHS movies to rent and whatever, whenever you rented a movie with some friends, you usually went for an Eddie Murphy one because it was a given that it was good because he could do no wrong in the 80s, right? He was actually the second highest grossing actor in the 80s. Harrison Ford was number 1. But if you remove Star Wars from Harrison Ford, Eddie Murphy is the top earning actor in the 80s.
Yeah.
48 Hours, watched them to hell and back, right? And Beverly Hills Cop. Beverly Hills Cop 1 might have been my favorite movie when I was a kid. And believe it or not, I'm not black from Detroit, nor am I a cop. Yet I liked the movie, even though I didn't identify with any of them.
Yeah.
I wanted that jacket, though. Holy shit, did I want that jacket. But, yeah. And, Trading Places. The Golden Child, which I think is very underrated. It's an awesome fantasy action comedy, maybe in the same alley as Big Trouble in Little China. I think you could watch those as a double feature. Yeah, and he did all kinds of weird stuff in the 90s. It's like he couldn't catch a break, but I still liked his 90s stuff too.
Like Eddie Murphy, I would say is like he also demonstrated a bit of range.
Yeah.
Going into the 90s with his films.
Metro was a cool one from the 90s. It's an action movie. It's Eddie Murphy and there's Thandie Newton. And Michael Wincott plays the villain, another underrated actor. But yeah, Eddie Murphy. So damn rewatchable. That's a thing as well. If an actor's movies are rewatchable, you probably did a good job, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, you're not if you don't like an actor or an actress, then no matter how good the movie is, it's like there's no rewatchability if there's any sour feelings towards the lead character.
Yeah,
They had to be entertaining.
there's a few actors that I'll gladly admit they're great actors. I just don't like them.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
Ben Affleck being one of them.
Honestly, it's all subjective.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're on number 5. Sorry, I'm trying not to yawn, chat.
Is it my turn?
Your turn. Yep, your turn.
Okay. I have another one in the same alley as Eddie Murphy, really. Robin Williams.
Yep.
Who has insane range if you think about it.
Oh yeah, did you see him in it was a 1 hour photo?
He plays a psycho.
Well, kind of. I mean, there's
Yeah.
a little bit more depth to his character, but yeah, so essentially he gives off that impression. But he is incredible in 1 hour photo.
Yeah, and he's great in everything, and he's one of those actors. I'd say it's him and John Candy, and to an extent Adam Sandler. They have that thing where their movies just tend to put you in a good mood, right? Even if they're not the best of movies, you just kind of feel a bit happier
Gotcha.
after you watch their movies. I don't know if the chat will agree with that, but it's just you just feel more positive after you watch a Robin Williams movie or a John Candy movie, you know. Yeah. Snake says, yeah, he deleted himself. Yeah, he was struggling with depression, and I think he had gotten an Alzheimer's diagnosis, or maybe it was Parkinson as well. It was one of the two right before he left us. And some actors you just miss, and I think with Robin Williams and John Candy, I think a lot of people just miss them. Because they were basically just positive. The movies were positive. So yeah, Robin Williams. Good Morning in Vietnam was probably my favorite of his when I grew up. I had that one on VHS. That was it was great, and that one actually works well as a drama movie as well.
Yeah. Sorry, a couple of the cats went after each other.
Yeah, happens.
All right. So you done with your number 5?
Yeah, Robin Williams. Just talking about how his movies, and even John Candy, they had that thing where every time you watched their movies, you just felt a bit happier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's just a weird thing. I'm not sure if everyone else feels that way, but I do. It's just hard to explain.
Mm-hmm. So, well, my number 5, going the classic actor route, is because of his performance in a series. Well, I am. All right, going the classic actor route because of his performance in a certain series of films, as well as his the chemistry he has with one of the actresses that pretty much is like became a staple as one of his co-stars, to the point where people actually thought they were married in real life, and that is William Powell. I loved William Powell in the Thin Man films. Now, the Thin Man came to be synonymous with William Powell's Nick Charles character, but the Thin Man was actually not Nick Charles's character, but became, like I said, associated with basically the duo of Nick Nora Charles. Nick Charles is a former detective who has retired pretty much after he married Myrna Loy's character, and is pretty much thrust back into solving crimes, starting with the first film, when the father of this young woman that Nick Charles used to know as a child, when because he worked a case for her father in the past, goes missing. And no matter how hard he tries to say that he's retired, he's not taking the case or anything like that, he's pretty much forced into trying to solve the disappearance of this girl's father. And the banter William Powell has with Myrna Loy, like I said, people actually thought William Powell and Myrna Loy were married in real life. That's how good the chemistry is between them.
He stabbed
and they've
himself.
done other movies together as well, showing that basically that chemistry, like in Double Wedding. What is it? Love Crazy. Showing like that they're believable as a couple. So yeah, I'd give it like Myrna Loy was probably the ultimate woman, pretty much, because she had this like I'll talk about this if I add her, if I have her on the list for actresses, but she had this like ability to basically, no matter what role she was in, it just always felt natural. Always felt natural. It didn't even feel like she was acting at all. So, but included William Powell because of the Thin Man films, because they were one of my favorites growing up. Because I loved my third genre I love is mystery.
He's suffered from depression. Apparently, he stabbed himself repeatedly in the torso in the shower and stuff.
So
was,
George
troubled.
Saunders, George Saunders, the actor, I believe committed suicide, and I believe, like in his note, like he did because he was bored. He'd become bored, so he ended his life. Yeah. So, yeah, like it's tragic when you hear like and I also think that he was also, like basically depression from because he was in love with Jean Harlow, and she died very young. Hey, Sunning Brave Megatron. She died very young. Unfortunately, she would. I think she wouldn't have, but her parents were those like Christian Scientists or whatever the fuck they were, pretty much. So they didn't call an ambulance or anything like that. So Jean Harlow died in her 20s as a result.
You know what? I'm gonna get Stunning and Brave Megatron. It says Peter Cullen should be number one.
Mm-hmm.
How could a Decepticon not pick the Megatron voice actor as number one?
I don't know.
He went with the Autobots.
Yeah.
He's a traitor. Sorry. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's my number 5, William Powell.
Well, your turn to do number 4.
Yes, and my number 4 is Mel Gibson, which you already essentially talked about, but I picked him because not only because of like basically his the pairing of Mel Gibson with Danny Glover in the Lethal Weapon movies, but also again range, like demonstrated incredible range as an actor. Where he went like he's just as believable in action movies, he's just as believable in comedic roles, he's just believable in serious roles. Like you've demonstrated pretty much with Braveheart, The Patriots, and so forth. And also demonstrated he could be a good bad guy. I will flat out come out and say this. Expendables 3 was the weakest of the Expendables films so far. Is the weakest of the Expendables films so far. You watch the director's cut, it makes it better. But for the most part, it's the weakest of the 3. However, Mel Gibson is pretty much the best part of that movie, and he's the bad guy.
Him and Antonio Banderas stole the show.
Yes. Mel Gibson, I believe, is a better bad guy than Jean-Claude Van Damme in the previous.
Yeah. Well, Mel Gibson is the best bad guy in the whole series.
Yes. So I'm just like, yeah. So again, like range is key. Pretty much, range. Yeah, the only good parts was like Mel and Antonio. Pretty much, only good parts. Yeah. So like this, basically. He's kind of like Denzel Washington, where it's like the movie itself might not be good. The movie itself is probably like, decent or meh or anything like that, pretty much. But Mel Gibson, much like Denzel Washington, always brings basically 100% to his character.
Did you watch The Beaver?
I believe I've seen parts of that movie.
Yeah, that's one of his best performances.
Yeah. He hasn't had a bad performance.
No.
The movie,
Well-
the movie itself might not be good, but he rarely, if ever, has a bad performance.
Shit Scottish accent in Braveheart, though.
I'm
Right.
saying like that's like an accent, but it was for most parts.
The acting was great.
Yeah, for most part, it's like rarely, very like extremely rarely, has he like ever given any less than a good performance.
In Payback, he plays the protagonist, but he's kind of a villain.
Mm-hmm. So, the key thing, the key thing with it's like most of the actors I picked were range, pretty much. And Mel Gibson demonstrates it constantly.
Oh yeah, rock solid.
Yeah, so he made my number 4.
Well, my number 4 is Sean Connery. First James Bond. Watched James Bond to hell and back when I was a kid.
Mhm.
Indiana Jones 3, all kinds of Sean Connery movies. Another one who never does a bad job, right?
Yeah.
And he probably had the best written Bond movies, which is why he was the first and he had the best written ones, in my opinion.
See if
Not
Norris.
that
Mhm.
I don't think any of the Bond actors have been bad. Objectively, if you're going by how they portray the character from the books, the best is actually Timothy Dalton because he based his performance from the book, on the books.
Mhm.
But on screen, though, it's probably Connery. That's the best.
I'd
right?
say probably like you say James Bond. Who's your James Bond? I think most people would say Sean Connery.
Yeah. But
I think George Lazenby could have been a good Bond, but he only had the one film.
yeah, and he did out of all of them, he probably did the fight scenes best.
Mm-hmm. He wasn't like great, but he could have been a good one.
Yeah.
So.
But with Bond, though, it's given that it's been ongoing since the 60s. It's like every generation has their own Bond,
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of my friends swear to Roger Moore because that's who they watch the most, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but out of all the Bond actors, Sean Connery is easily the best one. He's the best actor.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah. Like I said, he's never bad. And I watched him so much when I was a kid and a teenager. He's just there in my upbringing, really.
Yeah.
Which is the same for the next 3, by the way. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Sean Connery.
Awesome. All right. Well, now we're on our top 3 chats.
Yeah, I'm to do 3. Yeah, it's my turn, isn't it?
Yes.
Well, number 3 is pure nostalgia and entertainment. Sylvester Stallone. It's very rare that you see an actor get to be known for more than one franchise.
Mm-hmm.
With Stallone, you have Rocky, Rambo, and now the Expendables, right? He just keeps, just keeps going, and yeah, the first Rocky movies, I had all of them. I think the first 4 on VHS. Just amazing to watch as a kid, and motivational too, right?
Mm-hmm.
You watch a Rocky movie, you want to beat someone up, so you try to beat up a bigger kid. It doesn't work.
Oh no.
But you get up anyway.
Yeah.
Rambo, kids play war games and shit when they grow up with plastic weapons, or rather they used to. So especially after a Rambo movie, we would go all out war.
Yeah.
Outside of parents' house, and Cobra, I think deserves a mention, cheesy as it is. but so much damn fun though. And Cliffhanger. I don't know if you've seen that one. I got to watch Cliffhanger in the cinema when it came out, and amazing experience. Some of the shots gave me vertigo. So it's just I don't
I'm
know.
sure I've
It's
seen Cliffhanger. Or was it? I'm
what
pretty sure I've seen it. I'm pretty sure I've seen it, but it was years ago.
John Lithgow was the villain
Yeah.
in it, and he was awesome. Heck, there's a comedy that nobody seems to like it, but I do. It's Rhinestone, when he plays a New York cab driver who ends up being part of a bet between Dolly Parton and a guy that she can turn anyone into a country singer, and she has to train Stallone to be a country singer, and he sings in it. Not good, but the movie is hilarious. So he basically goes to Tennessee or something with her to learn how to be, kind of like a country person. He doesn't
Yeah,
fit
so
in.
it's kind of like My Fair Lady plot.
Yeah.
Well, it's country music.
Actually, yes. But when I was a kid and watched that one, I almost pissed myself with laughing. So yeah, get it watched. I think if you.
I'd never even heard of Rhinestone.
Yeah, him and Dolly Parton. But
That's
yeah,
cool.
Stallone, rock solid. I keep rewatching his movies over and over again and never get tired of them. And long may it last. Also underrated as an actor, to be honest. If you watch Copland, the guy can act if he's given the chance, but it's just he's found his niche, right? With the action movies and stuff, and
Yeah.
it works.
I believe it.
Yeah, that is true.
No.
He used to do porn.
But my number 3 is a classic actor, and he, in a sense, is very similar to my number 1 in terms of how he started in films and so forth, and how he basically broke the typecasting, and that is Humphrey Bogart. Humphrey Bogart, if you watch his earlier movies, he typically was cast as nefarious type characters, bad guys, criminals. Essentially, he like most of his early films were. It's pretty much typecasting 101 when it comes to the characters he plays. Pretty much Humphrey Bogart plays. So you never really would have expected Hollywood to at all give him a chance as the essentially romantic lead until Casablanca. And he demonstrated, like, he broke typecasting and demonstrated that he could play characters beyond that of the bad guys, or at the very least, pretty much the shady characters. So, and moved on to roles like in Maltese Falcon.
You'll be proud of me. I watched the Maltese Falcon last week or 2 weeks ago for the very first time.
When I watched it when I was a kid, I didn't like entirely solve it, but I pretty much solved the shooting at the beginning. I was like, I bet it's this character, and I was right. Yeah, The Big Sleep, Across the Pacific, Passage to Marseille. Yeah.
Yeah. Snakes in the chat says lists like these are too hard for him. It's difficult to decide the order. And yes, I fully agree, because I had to leave out so many great actors.
Yeah.
To make it fit to just the top 10. This was probably the hardest top 10 that we've done, I think.
Buster Keaton was actually my number 9, Snakes, on my list. But there's a movie that I think you should watch, Trey, and it's one of Humphrey Bogart's best performances, in my opinion. Like his performance, I think, makes this film. Like the acting is like good all around in this movie, but Bogart sells it, and that's Treasure of Sierra Madre. If you haven't seen it, it's a classic film, right? Treasure of Sierra Madre.
It's actually on a list of movies that I'm gonna watch soon.
Yeah, you should watch that.
Yeah.
Like I said, the acting is good all around because you have Walter Houston, who's John Huston's father, in this role, and he has like one of the most iconic scenes in film history, and in his delivery, I should say, in particular, the delivery of like the lines, but it's pretty much Bogart you watch this movie for, like your focus is on his character. And I'm not gonna say anything more about his characters. I don't want to give anything away, like basically like the character development or anything like that. But it's, I think you should watch it. Treasure of Sierra Madre. So, and this is like basically, and this is also the day and age of Hollywood when if you signed to to a particular studio, like say Warner Brothers or MGM or what have you, that studio owned you. So it wasn't like nowadays where basically actors could pick and choose based on which movie is going to pay them the best or something like that, or what or role, or based on roles or anything like that. No, you were relegated to the studio's movies, and if you at all wanted to make a movie with another studio, you could not negotiate the shit yourself. You had to go through the channels and the studio and have the studio bosses do the negotiating for you and so forth. So you'd still get the pay for making the film if they allowed you to do it, but they took a bigger cut because, like I said, the studios owned you. So yeah, The Harder They Fall, African Queen. Another very good Bogart role, and he's an African Queen.
I've actually never watched Casablanca.
You should, because there's Claude Rains in it. I love Claude Rains' performance. He's also has some like levity to his character. You have Ingrid Bergman. Yeah, so yeah, give it a watch. Give it a watch. It's like there's a romantic element to it, but it's more of a serious film.
I'll watch it if you watch Rhinestone.
I have to find it, but okay. But like Casablanca is one of those movies where you have to watch it. You just have to watch it at least once.
Yes, it is, because it's an all-time classic. It's a movie everyone should watch at least once.
Mm-hmm.
which is why I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah, but like that one and Treasures, like they're like multiple like good Bogart performances. Like there's multiple, but I'd say like Treasure of Sierra Madre is a must. Is a must.
Yeah, I'll add both of them to my upcoming watch list.
Yep, and now we're on number 2. Oh yeah, Looney Tunes did a spoof of it. Wasn't exactly that good in my opinion, the spoof. But Looney Tunes spoofed it.
Barbed Wire with Pamela Anderson is based on Casablanca, isn't it? Loosely.
I don't remember Barbed Wire well enough to say yes or no. Peter Weller, yeah. So my number 2 is he essentially toes the line between contemporary and classic. Right, and it's done Broadway as well, and that's F. Murray Abraham.
Oh, he's a beast of an actor.
Yes, like again, like the movie itself might not be that good. The movie itself is probably hit or miss. But like, damn, if I say basically. Like F. Murray, whatever scene F. Murray Abraham is in, like you are glued. You're watching that scene, and yes, technically he did. Like, don't get your history from Don't Get Your History from Hollywood, but Amadeus. Have you watched that movie, Steve?
A long time ago, I believe I had a maybe I was on a stream or something with Teresa
Hmm.
because she's a music history expert person, and yeah, she said that one wasn't very accurate, but I think she still loved it though.
Yeah, like the movie itself is not historically accurate. Not historically accurate, but performances all around are incredible. F. Murray Abraham steals the scenes he's in as Salieri, um, and has demonstrated. And I keep dropping this word range, like incredible range, in every movie he's in. Like he is, again, it's like one of those actors where it's like has not turned in a bad performance. Say what you will about whatever movie he's in, but he always delivers in whatever role he's in. So I had to include him. He's like one of my favorites. I see him. I see the movie and I see that he's part of the movie. I'm like sitting down and I'm watching it. Just basically for him initially. So yeah, try to go with Jack Slater too. Gene Hackman, greatest actor that ever worked. I love Gene Hackman in the small role he was in Young Frankenstein.
You know when when we're
Mhm.
when we're done, we should just do a quick, 5 actors we left out.
I don't think I could be quick about that because
Oh,
I'd be going through. Oh, what about him? Oh, him. Yes, him. I don't think I could be quick about that. So for me, yeah, F. Murray Abraham's number 2.
well, my number 2 is Arnold Schwarzenegger. For the same reasons I had Stallone on and Eddie Murphy and stuff. It was just I just kept watching his movies over and over again, and yeah, Terminator, Commando. I it's just so much fun to watch them, and they're so rewatchable as well. And he's actually, even though he's awesome uh, in action roles, he's actually very good at comedy roles as well. You know,
Mm-hmm.
um, the what is it, Jingle All the Way and Kindergarten Cop. He's funny as hell in them.
Mm-hmm.
And
Let's play a game. Who is your daddy and what does he do?
yeah, and ironically, after he was a politician, he became a better actor. So he was probably used to lying even more, right,
Yeah.
as a politician. But and some of the movies he did after he came back, like there's one called Maggie. Have you seen that one? He basically plays the dad of a girl who's infected. She's becoming a zombie.
Can't
So
remember if it's
it's
another
about
one.
it's a horror drama movie about him trying to take care of his daughter before she eventually turns into a zombie.
So I don't know
Very,
this actor. Neil Breen.
I don't know, but and Conan is huge in Norway, and when we got the Conan movie with Schwarzenegger, right, it was awesome. Even though they butchered the source material, the movie is fantastic.
Mhm.
Arnold was very good in that role, and the soundtrack is a 10 out of 10. It's worth it for the soundtrack alone, really. But yeah, he's one of those actors that whenever you watch him, he's always entertaining, even if the
Mhm.
movies aren't that good.
Yeah. So he's kind of like Ed Wood, like more famous for how bad his films are. So, all right. All right. So now, before we reveal our number 1, now we're gonna go through the list from 10 to 2. So I'll basically start. My number 10 was Bruce Campbell, then Buster Keaton, Vincent D'Onofrio, Cary Grant, Denzel Washington, William Powell, Mel Gibson, Humphrey Bogart, and F. Murray Abraham.
Yeah, mine is Harrison Ford, Peter Sellers, Michael Biehn, Mel Gibson, and Danny Glover on a joint 7th place, but only when they're together, though. Eddie Murphy, Robin Williams, Sean Connery, Sylvester Stallone, and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Now we're on the number 1.
And it's my turn, I think.
Yes.
My number 1 is Clint Eastwood. Insane range. Actually, he's probably going to be known for Dirty Harry and the Western movies, right? But
yeah,
he's never done a bad performance as far as I know. He's probably been in some flops or something, but it wasn't flopping because of him. Insane presence. Very good at delivering one-liners. And extremely good at looking pissed off.
Well, yeah, especially
when he gets when he gets the pissed off face, you're not gonna fuck with this guy.
No.
And if you want an underrated Clint Eastwood movie, go watch White Hunter Black Heart. He plays a movie director. I think it might have been. It's kind of loosely based on the guy who did The African Queen, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, but so he's going to Africa or something. Yeah, to Africa to shoot a movie, but not really. He's just going there because he wants to kill an elephant, and he doesn't give a shit about the movie because he considers killing an elephant a sin, and he wants to commit a sin. So basically, the movie starts going more and more to hell, and he's eccentric as hell in that movie. Seriously, he plays an oddball, but that's the movie for you to review, Trey. White Hunter Black Heart. I think it's awesome. And those westerns though, especially the Dollars trilogies, you can watch it over and over and over again. It's just timeless.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Clint Eastwood, getting up there now. I think he's 96 and 97. So
yeah, he's actually been in films for longer than people I think realize, because he had some small roles in earlier science fiction films.
Yeah, and he was on Rawhide.
Yeah.
Very old TV show.
Yeah.
So that guy he's not only a fantastic actor, the guy has become an icon, which is hard to do. But definitely, yeah. Oh, Trey Courtney still hasn't seen The Mule. Oh, watch it. It's awesome. Crime Macho as well, which was the last movie he did. That was a great movie.
Yeah, he's looking a bit rough now, but he is in his 90s.
Yeah, he's closing in on 100.
Yeah. So, Clint Eastwood did not make my top 10, but my number 1 actor is an actor that I've said is a triple threat, and was a triple threat before the likes of Gene Kelly graced basically the Hollywood stage in movies like Singing in the Rain, and that is James Cagney. No snakes. James Cagney.
I had a suspicion he might be on.
Well, I did say that he was going to be on my list, pretty much. But again, like Bogart, he was very much typecast in his early film roles as gangsters, pretty much. Like tough guy roles, mobsters, what have you, pretty much. Watch. Angels with Dirty Faces, Public Enemy. All right, he's very much typecast.
He does look like a thug, though.
Yeah, I'm saying, yeah. But he is a triple threat. He can sing and dance, and he's demonstrated that in later films when he was able to break free of the typecasting and actually be essentially romantic leads. There's the movie itself is decent. It's okay, pretty much. There's a romantic comedy called The Bride Came COD. The movie itself is like, it is what, like, it's whatever, pretty much. Not a bad movie, but I've never really been into romantic comedies. But he has like a very good scene between him and Betty Davis in that movie. And yeah, Yankee Doodle Dandy is really I think the film that primarily demonstrated Cagney's range. That he could play roles beyond that of bad guys. Like, he still had a tough guy presence. He still had a tough guy presence even in like when playing good characters. But at the same time, you still believe that he was playing a good character. And he was originally wanting to be a boxer. He originally wanted to be a boxer when he was growing up. And ultimately chose not to because his mother put on a pair of boxing gloves and said, okay, your first match will be against me. And so because Cagney did not want to exactly fight his mother, he hung up the gloves. But this man knows how to throw a punch. So when he throws a punch in films, like, you could feel it. Like, in my opinion, you could feel it whenever he throws a punch in his movies. And yes, him and White Heat was phenomenal. Yeah, James Cagney movies. So, but there it is. So there it is. So, like, again, he's like one of the few actors that, like, one of his movies is on, I'm sitting down to watch it. Yeah, so it's like, and I believe he also studied judo, so he knew how to fight. The man himself might not know exactly, may have only been about average height, not exactly tall, not short either, but I wouldn't want to mess with him. I really would not want to mess with him. Like, he could hold his own. He could hold his own. Yeah, so, Dan Blackroyd. I know that reference. But yeah. So, and I believe I was reading some trivia about him like not too long ago, but like I said, whenever you sign with a studio, the studios owned you pretty much. And like extras, like supporting characters, extras on films were pretty much paid a pittance, and they were pretty much only paid if they were working, which makes sense, right? Because you're not working, why are you getting paid? All right, so but they weren't getting paid a lot. So what Cagney would do is pretend to be sick. In his relatively earlier roles, he would pretend to be sick to prolong the production of the film. So the people that are in as extras and supporting roles, things like that, would keep getting paid, and that way, like, not go destitute or anything like that. So he had enough essentially pull in the studio that he delayed productions, so people could get paid longer while working on the film. So that's the type of person he was. And then I think it got a bit more conservative as he got older in terms of his like, in terms of more of like his politics, but he never really let it affect whatever role he was playing. I'm not rating him that way. But anyway, yeah, James Cagney is my number one. If you have not watched like White Heat, Angels with Dirty Faces, Public Enemy, even Yankee Doodle Dandy, his movies are worth a watch. Movies themselves, like I said, might not be the best, but you can't deny his performance. So yeah, so that's why I included classic actors, because like for that very reason, Soul Assassin, because they actually had charisma and talent. They actually had charisma and talent.
Yeah, they weren't cast because they were trending.
No. Well, it's one of the ones permanently on. Yes, I do watch a lot of Turner Classic Films. the films on Turn Classic Movies, I should say. So, and as an editorial put in, like, it's like in terms of like talking about older actors, is they did things before acting. They actually held jobs, actual jobs, before getting into acting. So these actors knew, like, if they're like playing like certain roles, and like that roles like a certain like like low middle class, low class, what have you, pretty much upper class, things like that. They, especially like the lower class roles, they could draw from actual experience in their performance. Hell, most of them actually volunteered. There were some that were drafted, but most volunteered. Jimmy Stewart volunteered. Clark Gable served, and so forth. Glenn Ford, they served. Yeah. Which is why I prefer watching older movies, because I don't feel like I'm watching someone just recite lines. I feel like that person's actually that character. So, but anyway, that's my top 10. That's our top 10 list for actors, male actors. And I figure the next one, just to keep it simple, will be female.
Yeah, that one's going to be even harder. I need to put aside puberty.
Yes,
puberty bias.
Yeah.
No.
Audie Murphy actually lied about his age to get into the military, because so he like claimed he was older than he was. But yeah. So, but yeah, top 10 actresses will be the next one. So start to think. So you men in the chats, and women, if you swing that way as well, you have to put aside puberty. Now you have to put aside puberty and actually think talent.
Actually think with your head.
Yes, your actual head.
Yeah.
Let the blood rush to the actual head.
Yeah.
Think about talent.
All right. Acting talent, not
acting talent. Yes, actual acting talent.
Yeah.
Not just looks.
Well, so nostalgia will kick in there too.
Well, a little bit, yeah. But I'm saying it's like you can't go like of how hot you thought like an actress was whenever you were.
No, it's like Gravy said, nice pair of talents.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like it's oh my god. I was just thinking of why am I'm just so tired. I'm blanking on this late night talk show host. Johnny
Carson?
Yes. Where he said, "Here they are, Dolly Parton."
Yeah.
I'm talking about her boobs.
To be honest, Dolly Parton's not a bad actress.
No, but that's how he introduced her. Like, and here they are.
Yeah. She used to be a teacher, but she had to quit.
Mm-hmm.
Because every time she turned around, she wiped the blackboard clean.
Yeah. But I think Johnny Carson was also talking to the golfer Arnold Palmer's wife. And at one point Carson asked, like, if Palmer did anything for luck, or if she did anything to help him, like, for luck, pretty much. And the wife answered, "I kiss his balls," meaning his golf balls, pretty much. But it says, "I kiss his balls." And Carson was like, "I bet that makes his putter rise."
Excellent.
Yes. But yeah, so next time will be top 10 actresses.
Yeah, it's going to be harder than this one, I think.
Maybe a bit, but I already have like at least 2 on right now that I can think of that would go on my list.
I think I have about 4 that will, maybe 5 that's already on the list as a default.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, so tomorrow, chats, before I forget. Now, barring anything unforeseen, I should be doing the D&D discussion, 1:30 p.m.
On Teresa's channel.
Yes, on Teresa's channel, and then tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern, will be like basically a special edition Cringe Factory, talking about the Barbie the movie. So, is it a pink nightmare? Is it a fun time? Those who have been following my channel essentially or watching my streams know where I stand. On
I have a sneaking suspicion I might get a bit of stick on the D&D stream.
Probably. So yeah, so before I say, go through my complete outro, Stieg, let everybody know where they can find you and all that fun stuff.
Well, here twice per month, sometimes 3. If I'm awake for the movie thing, whatever you do with Orange. We do the what's the new one called?
The good, the fun, and the weird.
Yeah, we're doing the second one of that one in 3 weeks.
Well, normally we do it at the beginning of the month, so that would be actually next week, the 2nd.
Oh,
so a week from today.
Okay, well, yeah.
Just and then 1 and 2s will be Ghostbusters 1 and 2. I'm going to give Orange Hat the singles movies will be that I picked that I would like to do for August, and that'll be the 10th and the 24th. That's Thursday. Top 10, and there's an extra Wednesday in August. So I'm gonna have to come up with maybe like a retro review discussion kind of thing, like pick a movie.
Yeah, Rhinestone. Do the Rhinestone stream. I don't know.
We'll see. I was thinking Space Hunter.
Oh, I watched that one.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking like because it's like one of those like retro discussions, like retro review, and
every time you get me to watch a comedy, I don't like it that much. But if it's something else, it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to be a thing, and then you get pissed at me for not liking the comedies or whatever, and you cool down when I watch something else.
Yeah, you have weird taste. But anyway, I was thinking Space Hunter. I was thinking either Space Hunter or just going full on bizarre and talking about Buckaroo Banzai.
Oh, I watched that. That one I didn't like.
It's an acquired taste. It's very much a cult classic. Like I said, objectively, it's not good.
No.
Objectively, it's not good. I will full on admit it. Objectively, it's not good, but subjectively, I love the hell out of it.
Yeah. It's I have movies like that too. I know they're shit. But I still like them.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gravy said, I get it, Steve, women aren't funny. That his words. He's being toxic.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, so basically the good, the fun, and the weird will be next week, 8 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to try to do my afternoon streams on Friday. I cannot promise anything because I'm coming down to basically the finish line, so to speak, with these renovations and so forth that my parents are doing in their house, and the flooring is completed. Pretty much the new flooring is completed, so it's kind of cleaning stuff off from the dust and everything and putting stuff back in its place. Countertops are going in tomorrow. Then after that would be the black splash, and then hopefully just little things here and there, and it should be done. But a lot of my time is spent putting stuff back where it goes. So, which is going to be most of my time spent on Friday, helping my mom and my sister put stuff back on the shelves. So that's going to be fun. And then Saturday, I'm going to talk to Steph, because Talk Nerdy to Us would normally be on my channel on Saturday, but we kind of skipped it because she wasn't able to watch the Barbie movie last Saturday. So I'm going to talk to her and see what if she's good with it being on my channel this week, or if she wants it on her channel, so it's doesn't exactly skip her. No worries, Trey. And so sucks that it has to be because of a funeral. It's never really fun time. So, but anyway. So, thank you, chat. Again, next week will be the good, the fun, and the weird. So if you have any articles, whether good, fun, or weird, I mean, I'm always up for like talking about weird shit. Even like just talking about weird shit on the stream. Shoot them my way, Twitter or Instagram, and I'll pick some to talk about next Wednesday. So, and then we have Stieg, Teresa, and I have D&D on Sunday. I should be good to go for then. And what I'll try to do is go live Sunday evening, since I haven't been able to go live in the evening pretty much all this week, at least gaming wise. So
yeah, you get fucked up D&D stories. It hasn't been that bad so far.
No,
there's more fucked up stuff in the Conan, but
yeah,
it's coming.
Yeah. So take care, everyone. Have a good rest of your day or evening, depending on where you are in the world, and I will see you all next time. Peace.
Bye.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.